Okay. Hi everyone, Matt Brain, winemaker for Alpha Omega, here on a beautiful spring day in one of our prestigious single vineyard spots, actually looking down over the valley of Rutherford. In fact, you can actually see Alpha Omega from here just faintly across the valley to the north west a little bit there. And we're out here in the field today talking about something very important, and it's something that you see when you're driving around and when you're in vineyard country looking at the different vineyards. You'll see a whole different type of plants growing on the vineyard floor, and we actually call this a cover crop. And a cover crop is a really important aspect of viticulture for a number of reasons. Number one, as you can see, when you've got a thick, lush cover crop, we're having a lot of carbon capture here. We're making a lot of plant material, so we're actually capturing carbon from the atmosphere, and that's an important topic in winemaking because we all know that we release some carbon during the fermentation process. So having this thick crop actually does a number of things for the vineyard health. Number one, it harbors a nice biodiversity of insects, and the best defense against bad insects, pests that will hurt our vineyard, is a diverse set of natural insects around the vineyard. So that's number one what we get. Number two, we're creating potassium and phosphorus and nitrogen that when we mow, we will return that back to the soil. That'll nurture the soil, put nutrients in the soil, but also nurture the microbial population in the soil. And just like in our gut with digestion, the microbes in the soil associated with the roots do a lot of that work in delivering the nutrients to the vine. So, other than that, the cover crops here, you can see we've got a really nice diversity of crops, and in a lot of our vineyards across Napa Valley, what you'll see planted is a nice combination of grasses and grains. We've got legumes and bell beans a lot of the times. There are natural native flowers in here for insects. So a nice diverse population. And the legumes and beans specifically are what we call nitrogen fixators, and they will bring nitrogen right out of the atmosphere and just drive it right into the soil. So you can see out here we've got this very interesting control pattern going on in the spring where every other row is mowed, but right now we've actually left every other row to just be natural and to keep growing. So we're doing that for a number of reasons. Number one, although we've had a beautiful set of winter rains, the soils are starting to slowly dry out and we want to make sure that we keep some of that moisture for the vines itself. If we've got a big high cover crop, very powerful cover crop, we're going to dry those soils out quicker because that cover crop is going to take some of that moisture. So that's one of the reasons. Number two, we're starting to deliver some of the nutrients back to the vines here while the soil is still moist, but we're actually leaving the reservoir for the natural insects and all the natural animals that we want in the vineyard. So, when you're driving through wine country, you might see different strategies going on in the valley floor. You might see absolutely nothing where they've tilled the cover crop in and you've got pure dirt, or they may just not want cover crop to compete with the vines at all, depending on the strategy. What we're trying to do in most of our vineyards and pretty much across the valley is not to till that soil, to set up a nice healthy cover crop in the vineyard and leave it. And the reason for that is when you're not continuously mixing the soil, you're allowing that natural strata to take hold. That helps prevent erosion. That actually boosts the native, the soil microbes and invertebrate populations. So you're not constantly kind of destroying them and making them start again. So we've got a much more healthy, natural type of population going on here. And as I said, that is the best resistance to microbial issues and insect problems in the vineyard, is to have a nice native biodiverse defense against those issues. So you can see here, this is a no-till type strategy, alternate row mowing. And as you drive through the valley, you might see this beautiful yellow mustard. In some areas, you'll certainly see a lot of this diverse, very intentional cover crop in others. And they're all to drive a different strategy, whether you're, the mustard can be very good at driving out insects that you don't want in a certain area and giving a nice renewal to the vineyard. But this strategy here is what we feel is really the best for the vineyard, both for year on in terms of delivering that nutrients, but also in the long-term health of the soils and stability of that topsoil that we definitely don't want to see erode. So thanks for listening. A little talk about cover crops and what we're doing in the vineyard with Alpha Omega. Cheers, everybody. Thanks.